Alright everyone, so I thought this over and what I'll do is this. I'm going to talk about color removers in this section. I'll give you the basic information on them, and then at some point once I'm done filming the book, I'm going to go back and do like a supplement on, you know, what they are, have some examples out, and test it on some mannequins so you can see this. I actually do a little class for cosmetology schools, and I call it Cool Corrective Techniques. So with any kind of hair correction, you have to know the technique. Color removers are a thing. This book tells you how to make beautiful colors. It does not tell you how to remove the colors. So know that color removers exist. There's two kinds on the market. One of them is a perm-like one, the other one is a bleach-like one. Your perm-like one is the gentler of the two. The latter, the bleach-like one, being the more aggressive one, and that's something that you have to use your judgment when you're going to use it. When you're using the perm-like one, it's a perm-like one because it works like a perm. You have two solutions, A and B, you mix them together, whisk it. It'll be like a thick gel. It'll smell really bad. It'll smell like eggs and sulfur. It smells like rotten eggs. It smells horrible. At my job, I was doing the class for the adult cosmetology. I mixed it because I brought it in for them. And my boss ended up coming in the room because she thought there was a gas leak. That's how bad it smelled. It's a product that works. It works really good. What it does is it goes in the hair, and remember how and it only works. Here's the other tip on this. It only works oxidative color. Do not use it on non-oxidative color because two things might happen. It may not work, or it can discolor it and make the color switch. So what happens is it goes in the hair, and the color molecules that are in there are really big. The sulfur-based chemical will shrink them, so it shrinks these dye molecules out. And then it's up to you. This is where everything can go wrong. You have to shampoo the hair vigorously, almost rub it like a fabric, rinse it, rinse it, rinse it, wring it out, warm water, wring it out. You're using warm to keep that cuticle up, more clarifying shampoo, which is going to be higher on pH, rinse it out. And your goal is to get all those color molecules out of the hair. And then this step in the box, we'll call it step 3 or a checker. It's a little bit of peroxide. Sound familiar with the perm? You use the peroxide. You'll put the peroxide in there, leave it in there for about 5-10 minutes, and if the hair turns dark, it means you did not remove enough of the color, or it means that there's so much pigment in there you'll have to do another round. Typically you can do about 2 rounds in a day, and that's a safe thing. Condition the hair. The hair is going to feel dry because the cuticle's been lifted. Do a deep conditioner, condition the hair. You can either do a toner or tell them if they're okay with like wearing it out, which I've had clients that are willing to go blonde, but we do the color remover frequently to get everything out, and then I'll do a toner. Then I'll send them home. They'll come back in 2 weeks and we'll do the lightener service. If they're okay with that, you can have them come back the next day. This is again just using your judgment. The next formula of color removers, or the next class of them I should say, is the bleach-like ones. They're more aggressive. They are higher in pH. They will lighten natural hair. Your perm-like color remover will not lighten natural hair. An example of that would be Color Oops, which is a perm-like one. If you take Color Oops and put it on your hair, it will not lighten your natural color. If you take something like L'Oreal Color Remover, which you can get over the counter, by the way, here's a fun fact. You're actually paying for the design and not the actual product. If you go into Sally Beauty Supply, you can get the color remover that is in a box with a developer. You're paying for all that when you can actually just get the packets of L'Oreal Effisol. It's the same chemical, just different packaging. So that's a really good tip to remember. You take your packet, you'll mix it with developer. It'll either be 10 volume or 20 volume. It works very much like a bleach. You'll put it on. You got to be really careful to avoid hitting the regrowth because it will lift through everything else. And here's a secret. You can use that same product, the bleach-like color remover, with distilled water. Never ever use tap water because it might have some minerals in it and it could react. Distilled water, and put it on over the hair, and it will remove semi-permanent color. So people that come in with the fashion colors, there's 2 ways you can correct that. Let's say they have the fashion colors in the hair, they want to go back to brown. You can correct fashion colors by using semi-permanent colors to make a brown or a black shade that will cover it, because you're just adding the pigment that you're missing. So for example, if the hair color is blue, you're missing the warmth from the red and the yellow. You'll mix those two together, throw it on the hair, and that will make a brown. Or you can just use another way to do this. Take your lightener. If you don't have a color remover, you can use a lightener for this too. Take your lightener, mix it with distilled water, have them lean back in the sink, spray it on. What that's going to do is that distilled water is not going to have any metal, so there'll be no lifting. But what you'll get is a pure lift because it'll lift up the cuticle and it rinses all the color out without damaging the hair. Now, if you mix it with 20 volume and you apply it over semi-permanent color, you're going to lift the cuticle in, you're going to cause a lightning reaction. What's going to happen, it was called as the dye molecules to go in the hair deeper, and it might even turn them darker. So always be careful with that. Know that some lighteners that had a zero volume developer, that's just basically distilled water and a thickener. Some people even call it a diluter because you can use the zero volume to dilute a 40 volume into a 30 volume and lower. Know that if you're missing a developer, so if you're missing 30 volume and you have 40 and 20, you can mix equal parts of 40 and 20 volume, that will make a 30. Alternatively, you can take 40 volume and add equal parts of distilled water in there, stir it, and that will make it a 30 volume. So there's all kinds of ways to, work if you're missing something. So when you're doing an effective color correction, obviously you don't want to panic. You always want to remain calm. You want to figure out what the nature of the problem is, what caused it, and develop a solution. Now, if a client is coming to you with a color correction and you don't know what to do, start with the option of least harm. Do some strand test. If something is coming out wrong, tell the client, we can only do so much today and you'll have to come back in 2 weeks. I'll have to cut some of your hair off. Typically, you'll always deal with the client that will have a lot of hair, it's fried, they don't want to cut it off, and that becomes a challenge. Know that you want to take everything one step at a time. Never guarantee a perfect result because they'll hold you to it. And always strand test for accuracy. So when you're working with damaged hair, know that blow drying, flat irons, even wind, I guess, could damage hair. Harsh shampoos and chemical service will take a toll on hair. Coating compounds such as hairspray, styling agent, and some conditioners can block or interfere with color penetration. Hairsprays will even react with color and cause an exothermic reaction if there's a lot of alcohol, especially a bleach, and that could damage hair. Hair is considered damaged when it has one of the more following characteristics: rough texture, overporous condition, brittle or dry to the touch, susceptible to breakage, no elasticity, becomes spongy and matted when wet, and color fades too quickly or grabs too dark. Know that when you have that, you're going to want to condition the hair. You want to use a penetrating conditioner that can deposit protein, oils, and moisture-rich ingredients. Postpone any chemical services until you recondition the hair. Cut as much of the damage off as the client will allow. Recommend products at home they can use. This is a good retail opportunity. And schedule the client for in-salon conditioning services. I know at Redken we have the heat cure, so we can actually do the heat cure treatment, which is hotter than a blow dryer but cooler than a flat iron. You heat cure this product in it. So with damaged hair, I also want to add this. You also run the risk if hair has been seriously chemically damaged, it will not take color at all. If you've seen my Instagram post that went viral when I compared the Redken pastel swatch to hair that's very porous, it did not turn out well. What I'll actually do is after we do this segment, I'll come back and I'll bring the mannequin out and I'll show you guys what the color should have been. Also know that when you're working with damaged hair, I had a scenario that would be a little interesting. I had a client that came into the salon and we didn't hear from her again after this, but she came in with a hood and she kind of like walked in with a slouch and she had a bag in her hand. It was a ShopRite bag. I'm like, this is like really bizarre. Like, what's up? She sat down and she goes, it almost like she was crying. She goes, I had my friends try to bleach my hair at home and we failed big time. I'm trying to talk to her, like, what'd you use? And she goes, she pulls out, and we all gasped, a bottle of Clorox. She pulled her hoodie down. Her scalp was pink. Her hair was like frizzed. It almost looked like wet cotton, and it was just coming off. It was horrible. Very dry to the touch. If I went like this, it would just shed right off. She used a bottle of Clorox. Her friends had put it on, and it worked. It worked too well. It actually ate away at her hair and started to hurt her scalp, and I said, ma'am, I'm sorry. And she wanted to go blonder. I'm like, there's nothing I can do. I cannot fix your hair. Your best bet is to cut as much off as we can. We'll condition your hair, come back in. That's the best I can offer you until your hair is healthier and your scalp is healthier. She didn't want to hear it. She got up and left. That's the best I could have given her. Maybe she would have found that one stylist that would have done what she wanted to do and they could have had a lawsuit because that hair was so fragile if you were to add more bleach to it. First of all, it's reckless. Two, that it would have reacted with any Clorox residues and it would have broken it off. So, fillers. This is an misunderstood area in hair color. Old school fillers were used to correct the hair. Now we typically use demi-colors or semi-permanent colors. Fillers are used to equalize porosity. Think of hair being porous, having holes in it. Those fillers are going to go in there and plug those holes and even everything out. Some fillers are ready to use as they come by the manufacturers. Others are a mixture of hair color and conditioner that your instructor can help you prepare. There are 2 types of fillers, conditioner fillers and color fillers. Some of them combine both. Typically, a majority of the fillers that we use, if you're doing the old school way, are all pre-mixed. There's no more of this mixing with the color and this and that. Conditioner fillers are used to recondition damaged, overly porous hair and equalize porosity so the hair accepts the color evenly from scalp to ends. They are applied in a separate procedure or immediately prior to color application. Color fillers equalize porosity and deposit color in one application to provide a uniform contributing pigment on pre-lightened hair. Color fillers are used on overly porous hair, pre-lightened hair to equalize porosity and provide a uniform contributing pigment, and a contributing pigment that complements the desired finished color. Demi-permanent hair color products are commonly used as fillers nowadays. Fillers have the goal of depositing colors to faded ends and hair shaft. They help prepare the hair to hold a final color by replacing the building blocks. They prevent streaking and dull appearance. They prevent off-color results, and they produce a more uniform and natural-looking color. Know that it will help with the tint back. So what a tint back service is, you're going from platinum blonde, and again, watch your Studio Luma, platinum blonde to a brown or a dark brown. You can't just take that dark brown color and slap it on, especially if it's permanent, because 1, never use a permanent color on hair that's been pre-lightened. There's no need, it's more aggressive, you're going to open that cuticle farther, cause more damage, and you're also going to cause the hair to turn an off green or an off blue. So demi-permanent's the only thing you should be using. What you would do is use your filler and fill in what you're missing. So if they're blonde, they're going to be missing the red, and this is something that you're going to have to try to explain to them. I typically turn my clients around so they can't see. Tell them you're going to put the filler in, be honest, it's going to turn your hair orange. Don't freak out, your hair is not going to be orange. You need to have the orange for the brown to suck into your hair and to take in your hair. Then you're going to put some color fillers will tell you to mix their color fills like red. I've just done it with red, and I've done the brown shade, and it comes out a nice warm rich brown. If they want to go super dark, there's another filler for a warm or dark brown that will add in the blue pigment, and you'll put it on and color it with a cooler tone demi, and that will cover everything. So the fillers are going to fill the hair and deposit that color. Know that they give you a little chart on how to fill in. Pretty simple. Don't focus on their chart there. If the hair is yellow, you got to add red back in, and then your demi color will be a brown, and typically browns already have blue in them, so you don't have to worry about adding another filler over it. Red filler is usually more than enough. Know that, let's see, when you're working with fillers, you can actually color over the fillers. Some fillers allow you to mix it in the color. I always say play it safe, do them in 2 separate processes. If you do not have a filler and you are out of stock, you can try to use semi-permanent color, which will be your vivids, so do like a red. Or another option is your demi color if you're too nervous. Do a level 6 warm gold. That will give you probably enough warmth. Put it in there, and then color over with the shade that you want. So know that when you select a filler, know that you can use them in different ways. You can even use fillers to refresh hair. I've used a red one on my own to prepare my hair for a refresh. Now it's important, now we talk about fillers. There are 3 types of hair colors we have in the salon. We have redheads, which are my favorites to work on and do. Brunettes, brunettes are kind of boring. And blondes, which do have more fun, but I thought we say the redheads have the most fun. We have the most fun as redheads. Because we're fun, we're vivacious, we're lively. Know that red hair color, it's fun, it's exciting, but it's also got a lot of issues with fading. There's a lot of different theories on fading, but one of them that is so accurate is the dye will oxidize with minerals. What happens is copper loves to attack red. It's green, it will tone your hair out. So if you live in an area with a lot of copper in your pipes, it's going to be very difficult to maintain that red. I'm in that boat. So one thing you can do is use Malibu C. Their Hard Water Wellness works. It's a great product. That's something you can retail in the salon to redheads. They make red shampoo. Red shampoo puts a little bit of the color back in. Pureology had a great one. I think they still have it. Know that even using a flat iron, if you do a flat iron on a red, that will fade it immensely. So I always say if you're doing a redhead, try to have them wear their hair natural. Let it rest for a day. Use a vinegar rinse over it if you can to really seal that cuticle in. and try to style the hair without heat. If you can blow dry, just get away with blow drying. If you have to use heat, use it, but just be very careful. So know that even sun can fade red hair. Red molecules are a little bit bigger and they don't penetrate fully, and that's one of the theories as to why it fades so quickly. So when you want to create warm coppery reds, use red-orange base colors, which will be an RO or an RG in the color lines. If you want to create hot fiery reds, use red-violet or a true red color, R, RR, or RV. Because violet is a variant of red, if you also want to create a fashion violet, do a V, VV, or VR. VR is such a nice shade. Also know that sometimes people put a VR on and they go, oh, why does it look more like an RV? And they'll find that the RV swatch looks a little bit warmer. And it also has to do with how much developer you're using. If you're using a stronger developer, you're going to pull more warmth, and then the red violet will react like that, producing more of a fiery red, whereas a VR will produce more of a RV look because you're exposing more red, and you know the pigment reacts like it with the color. So after the hair's been colored with a permanent color, you always want to use a demi-permanent red to refresh the shaft and ends. And if gray hair is present, always formulate according to the amount of gray, otherwise you'll turn the roots hot in an off-color salmon. To brighten a hair color, refresh reds with a soap cap of equal parts shampoo and a remaining color formula before rinsing, or mix a demi-permanent color and apply to the ends. So when we get back, I'll touch a little bit upon reds and what you can do to help prevent fading, and we're going to talk about brunettes and blondes. So take your 5-minute break and I will be right back.